Society's family unit is in crisis as less and less people are making the commitment of a lifelong partnership together. It has been normalized, encouraged, and easier than ever to just throw in the towel when the going gets tough. With time at a premium, start by spending 20 minutes per week gaining thought-provoking inspiration towards a journey of self-improvement, ultimately improving your marriage, your family, your health, and your home. Why do some marriages work and others don't? Why do people think that marriage takes a lot of work? Why do so many married couples not seem to like each other anymore? We are going to be answering those questions today while we discuss marriage commitments. Marriage takes effort, but it doesn't have to be difficult if two people are edifying each other and playing on the same team.
So if you can tell, today we don't necessarily have a script to follow. We have an outline that we're looking at and some notes, but we are trying to do this via video as well. So we're recording this and we will actually be putting it on our IGTV early, so before Monday. And so if you want to subscribe, follow us, on Instagram, then you'll be able to see this episode before it goes into our podcast on Monday. But we're going to kind of shoot from the hip today. And just a little background. One of the big reasons that we're doing that is, number one, we want to become a little bit more natural, I guess, in our delivery. And we want to do more with video, so you guys can actually see what we look like on a daily basis. So it's just not going to happen with hair and makeup.
This is business attire today.
It is. And so we want to show up a little bit more on video. We want to be a little bit more natural, and we want to show you guys kind of what it looks like in real life.
Well, it adds a little more personality flair for us instead of trying to follow a rigid script. It's so structured that we're so worried about the script and saying everything the right way instead of just letting it flow a little more naturally.
Exactly. Honestly. And I think a lot of times we wish that people could be on walks with us and stuff too, because when we go on family walks, that's kind of when we talk at our deepest and talk about podcasts and things like that. And I think that we have some really good conversations, including what we're going to discuss today about our marriage commitments, or sometimes we refer to these as marriage agreements. So marriage is one of our family pillars. And the reason that marriage is one of our pillars, obviously we're married, but it's to elevate one another and flourish as life partners. So when we got married, we made a commitment for life. Divorce is not an option. Those are in some of our early episodes in our very first year last year, talking about our pillars.
And we've talked about a few of these different topics at different times, and there could be some repeat for folks that have already checked those out.
But this is our second year, so this is a good time for people who are hopping in.
Absolutely.
To be able to talk to us. So one of the biggest thing when it comes to marriage agreements is the financial agreements a part of that. This is a common topic that couples fight about, and like one of the leading causes of divorce, I think, too. They just can't end up on the same page. So we're going to go into a lot more rifting, but we do have a timer going, so we're still going to try and stay around that 20-minute mark for everyone, because we know that's really important. We've heard so many people say that that's really important when listening to our podcast.
They like the shorter bites instead of just the super long dialogue that you have to be on more than just a short walk to listen to.
Exactly. So when it comes to financial agreements, what does that mean for our marriage? Does that mean that I can't go to Starbucks without you approving it?
I don't think you get to leave the kitchen. So no, honestly, the Starbucks, or even if it's grabbing lunch, buying something for the kids, like a toy or something.
I'm the spender because I'm the one that's out. Like, I run a lot of errands and things. Not that you can't or you don't, but I'm usually the one that's out because we're out doing field trips, or I have a little bit more leeway with my job. Obviously,
you also tend to Yeah, I mean, you've typically had a little bit more free time going back
Mhm.
to before you worked, like even full time, so much
This is
after KJ
also
was born.
gonna happen.
And then, and then also you subscribe to a lot of things. You get a lot of emails about shopping and
Yeah.
discounts, and you tend to, window shop
Mhm.
online, which is a thing
But
now.
a
I
lot of
don't. I
times I
don't
will
shop.
send you pictures of things too, if it's
Yeah.
something big. So, I mean, I don't want to say it's like there's a threshold, like we don't spend $50 without checking with one another, but you're not going to go out and spend like $100 on workout stuff without checking with me
Right. Yeah.
because I, I mean, I could have bills that need to go through, and then it's like, and then I got to pull money out of savings, and that's just another thing for me to do.
I think that's half of it. I think the other half, though, for us is just the respect for each other, and we'll talk more about this in a minute, because I do want to come back to it. But it's simple respect for each other. There is no reason why we're making a commitment on something financially that could be, say it's $100, that doesn't matter what it is, really. $100 still, is $100, and
That was
if
a
I
lot
go,
17 years
it
ago
was
to us.
that took a long time to get. But it's just something that's respectful. It's like, I don't want to, it's the same with the time commitment. I wouldn't want to commit us to a dinner somewhere for say it's a 2-hour dinner and we got a long drive to meet people, or
We
all those
actually,
other things. Like,
yeah.
that's committing you to things that you didn't agree to. I just come home and blindside you with it, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, what if I had other plans
Plans
or
for
other
time.
ideas, or what
We
if,
actually did a whole episode on finances, so you can definitely go back to that
Yeah.
one and check it out, because we riff quite a bit on it, and we really go into depth with how our finances are set up if you're looking for some inspiration. But just to keep it moving along, texting others and including each other. So this is something that actually happened last night. We had one of our listeners reach out to us, and he reached out to me on my personal Facebook, which is totally fine. But I let Ben read all the messages and my response to that person. And I let that person openly know that, hey, my husband and I have a marriage agreement that we don't text people of the opposite sex or message people of the opposite sex without the other knowing. But in this case, it was something that Ben needed to take over anyways. And then when it comes to groups, so that's kind of the same thing. A lot of times with couple friends and stuff, we might be coordinating things with each other or things like that. And it might be, that me and one of Ben's friends need to communicate because our girls are doing something, but at the same time, that person's of the opposite gender. So I need to include Ben and I need to include that person's wife. It leads to no questions.
Yeah, it rules out the doubt. There's not a space for that doubt now. And you've probably heard some counselors or articles you've read, or other popular methods around here, open book, look at my phone, go ahead, it's unlocked, that type of stuff. Whereas we don't have to worry about that so much. I mean, the case with this listener, we looked at it last night, and absolutely nothing to worry about. There's no suspicion there. In some cases, this could be Allie saying, hey, this is kind of a guy thing, do you want to maybe speak to it from a guy's perspective? And or if it's a female thing, I may say, it's not that I can't reach out or say something, but it may be a topic where I'm like, well, you might have a better perspective on this than me.
Yeah.
So another topic, just to try and keep us moving, we could go forever on some of these, but don't compete. Stop it. Stop competing. It's really hard to do, especially when things get heated, but you don't always have to be right or win
or have the last
win
word.
an argument. Do you ever really win
AKA
an argument?
Our daughter
Yeah,
always has to have the last word.
that's true.
Don't know who she gets that from.
I have no idea. But honestly, you don't really win some of these arguments. I have no idea. And honestly, keep going, keep digging a hole. But you don't win these things. How many times have you had a knockdown, drag out, emotional argument, and you go back and you're thinking, that was the stupidest thing we've ever argued about, and I can't even remember how it started or where it ended, or all you remember is that you were both mad. And then what got resolved? Nothing. Right?
Date nights, we've talked about this in quite a few episodes.
We've covered this at length.
Actually, weekly date nights where we're actually cutting back on ours a little bit. So we're keeping that a little bit under wraps as to why, but we're finding other ways other than literally going out every weekend, where we have to have a babysitter and a dinner reservation and something to do. We're trying to spend our date nights doing some other things around the house here, watching shows together and stuff. But it's important for us to keep that time, because with the projects that we've got going on right now, it's going to be very easy for us to creep into that, because we have so much to catch up on. So you can listen to all the episodes about date nights and the agreement that we've made as far as our marriage agreement is to have date nights and to have that connection weekly without children's without children who that is a deeper connection, those more meaningful things to talk about. So
and we'll get back to date nights, I'm sure, as soon as we can, but there's a season to our life right now that we needed to cut back.
Exactly. So travel every year. This is a promise that we made when we got married.
We did.
And that was we've been together 17 years, so we've been married 14. Yeah. I'm really bad with numbers. But whether that is a small staycation where we're going or the big RV trip that we did this year, we've made that promise and we've stuck to it.
And what made it easier was my work and travel that I had every year. That made it a lot easier to stick to, because otherwise it would have been a short road trip, would have been about all the travel we would have.
We even traveled in 2020. We
did.
Yeah. I mean, we did some short staycations. We did some close by overnights, things like that. So it's possible to do that. Speak with respect in person, and especially to others when the spouse is not present. So this is a big one. Luckily, we kind of have gone a little speed talking, so we've got time for this one, because this is a big riff for me, and it happened even tonight. It wasn't bad, but it happens a lot.
It's just little things that seem harmless or innocent sometimes, or kind of haha funny, making a joke, but when you're doing it at your partner's expense, particularly right in front of them, or even when they're not around, but you do it to other people. I mean, we can give each other hell for some silly thing we've done, and that's okay, especially if you're doing it from a good place. You know, if you have an issue, like, let's talk about that. We don't need passive aggressive jabs, and we've all done it. We all do it. It's, we're not perfect,
and I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, but I think we're going to do more on it. This is a part of the 4 horsemen. Showing contempt for your spouse, which is not talking with respect. And that could be, like, oh, where's he now? Or
he's always doing that. Oh, she never gets that right. She messes that up all the time.
Yeah. Or anything talking bad about your spouse.
Well, and we've been guilty of this. We've had rough patches in our marriage a few different times that were really getting bad, but it starts with those little moments of contempt, and you start sharing that with other people, and it gets bad, it gets worse, and then eventually, let's say you patch it up, things get better. Problem is, now you've confided or shown this contempt to friends or family who don't forget that stuff. They may not remember exactly every verbatim word for word that you said, but now
they remember the idea.
They remember how you disrespected each other. They may not think that in the moment, but it sticks with them. Under the surface, they're thinking, okay, there's a deeper problem here, or if you keep coming to me with these things, I'm going to eventually convince you to get divorced or leave that person. But it's especially bad if you're confiding in someone of the opposite gender that you probably shouldn't be. It's not to say that you intend to do anything, but that really opens a door to a path you don't want to go down.
Exactly.
And once that doubt is there in somebody's mind, it's really hard and takes a long time to get past that. Trust us from experience. And those wounds, they can come back. They don't just go away. So it takes a long time to build trust, like they say, and takes one moment to destroy it. So this is something we're very it's cliche, but we're very passionate about this because we see it so often in just little mundane conversations where somebody just makes this little jab, this little comment about their partner. And we just don't, we don't play along with it much anymore. I think we used to indulge it a little more in conversation and go with it. But now I almost can't stand it. It's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear it now.
Yeah, when it happened earlier today, I was on the speakerphone. It happened earlier today, and just kind of stared at Ben like, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh. Was that a joke?
Yeah.
So we play as a team on virtually everything, whether it comes to kids, work, chores, finances, hobbies, friends.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Everything is a team effort.
It has to be. We're outnumbered with 2 kids right now.
We are. Yes. Yes, everything is as a team effort. So much collaborating throughout the day. It's not even funny.
Oh, we text and call each other from upstairs and downstairs. We constantly check in.
That's not because we're lazy. That's because we don't want to open the baby gate and risk our son following.
Well, he gets upset. He's a little clingy right now, or maybe he's taking a nap, and we don't want to walk through the hallway with the creaky floorboards. He'll wake up.
Yeah.
But beyond that, things have certainly changed for us since college when we were getting married. I was just graduated, but we were still in the college town. You were still graduating soon. So we really noticed how much we don't know what we did with our time back then.
I know.
We have no idea. We wasted a lot of time.
We did.
I don't know what we were doing.
How did I even get to class? I don't know.
That's a good question. And
it
was just so easy, though. It was effortless because we didn't have as much stress. We had all the free time. If we wanted to pick up and leave town for the weekend, we could just do it. And so it's really amazing how far we've come. We're not the same people we used to be, but we've grown together and done it together instead of going opposite directions.
Yeah.
So
we definitely kind of just going back, we talk about real stuff every day. So, but you have to make an effort to go beyond the to-do list or the surface level stuff. And we've gotten really good at this, but starting out before we were on this journey of self-improvement, it was hard to find time to talk about real stuff every day, goals, dreams, passions,
just funny stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe there's an issue you haven't aired out. It may not be huge. It may seem kind of small, like, I don't want to rock the boat, but it could fester. And I think I'm a little better about bringing other topics to the table. Allie tends to be very right to the to-do list. What are the tasks to get done today? She loves checking boxes and then making more things on the list.
And check the box.
I think you do it just not. Yeah, I think you do it to annoy me.
But I mean, we actually do really enjoy spending time together because we are so invested. So
we've committed to it.
Yeah. Moving on to the big topic, sex is important. So this is something that is definitely a back burner item for most couples, ourselves included, or it just happens when it happens. This is because of the busy disease, or this could be emotional, physical, mental things going on. But just remember that it's the thing that makes your relationship special and different from any of your other close relationships. Hopefully, your husband is the person that you can have sex with.
I hope so. It should be.
So that's part of the marriage agreement. I mean.
Well, and that's something we don't talk about, because that sounds bad out there in society to say that you're supposed to be having sex with your partner, that it's a bit of a commitment, because I hate to break it to you, when you first got together, I guarantee you that was a big thing you were doing at the time, and it was great, right? Had it not been great, you may have been holding off a little longer on the get more serious, because that's the thing that's great at first, and then it somehow it's sort of like taking the time to woo each other, like, I don't get as many flowers, we don't go on date nights as much, or we don't do this, we don't do that fun stuff. But part of it people don't want to acknowledge this is that what keeps it fun and light is having sex and intimacy in your life. That's the fire that keeps it going. Once that goes away, all your problems start really bubbling up to the surface more, And if you're committed to each other in a marriage, you're supposed to talk to each other, communication, you're supposed to support each other, you're supposed to spend time with each other's family, you're supposed to do these other roles. Why is this the thing that is just, oh, okay, we can just let that slip? No, we have a commitment to that too. And I know it's hard to think that way. You shouldn't feel forced to do anything, but you should both want to or find a way to get that space to where you can make that magic happen, so to speak.
Yeah. So we're definitely not complete equals on everything, but we do have respect for each other and we assume good intent.
Most of the time.
This is hard sometimes, but you definitely have to check your ego when you're in a marriage.
Yep.
So, and we understand with one of our marriage agreements, we're not equals, and that's what makes us a husband and a wife.
Well, and we certainly try to stick to things, do what we say we're going to do. And we make mistakes, but we try to make it right. But it doesn't help to throw a bunch of guilt on somebody and blame them for something. It's, you make a mistake sometimes, but you got to make up for it. So this has really built trust for us along the way, along our journey, because we know we can rely on each other, and we really do value each other's input on virtually every decision we make. It could be work, it could be clothes we're buying, it could be something for the kids, whatever. So yeah, some of the topics that we've covered don't come naturally. They take time to develop and grow. It's sort of like a muscle that needs to build with exercise over time. And it may not seem like you're making a lot of progress day to day, but eventually it gets better. It gets easier. And you'll look back and be proud of your progress.
Yeah.
Your only regret will be that you didn't start sooner.
So today's call to order is simple. Figure out what you and your partner can commit to and make a plan. If you can commit to date night, schedule it. If you need to have a family trip, start booking it. And if you need marital counseling, go see a therapist together. It takes two people coming together to make each other better. If you're ready for your marriage and family dynamic to thrive and not just survive, all it takes is 20 minutes or less joining us each week. It begins with a journey of self-improvement while you sit in the carpool lane, commute to work, squeeze in a workout, or get halfway through folding that laundry pile. Be sure to check out the blog at thefamilyorder.com and follow us on social media at The Family Order. If you're ready to start your journey, be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every Monday.